Thank you all for joining us on behalf of the Education Committee. We're excited for this next hour. So we've got two incredible presenters, guests today. Caroline Basarab, who's the PGA Director of Retail, Reynolds Lake Oconee, a two-time National Merchandiser of the Year, and Steve Rudd, PGA General Manager at Summer Grove Golf Club, who's received multiple section awards for merchandising. And I've gotten to know these two individuals incredibly well over the last year, as they've been instrumental in the success of the Education Committee and our educational offerings. And really, the backstory for today's webinar is we had a retail breakout session during the merchandise show back in September, and Steve and Caroline were part of a panel, one of the breakout sessions. It was a hit. It was fantastic, and everybody was there, really learned a ton. And so we thought, well, let's go ahead and deliver this again, but in a webinar setting to try to reach some more folks. And so Caroline, Steve, we're grateful for your time today and your expertise and sharing some insight. So why don't we begin with just getting to know the two of you a little bit better before we get into some questions. And so Caroline, why don't we start with you? Maybe just share your career path and what's led you to Reynolds.
Well, first thing, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be a part of this today. And I personally don't like talking about myself, so I'll make it brief. I'm from Houston, Texas. I played college golf for Texas A&M, made most valuable player in my last 2 years. I wish I would have, a part of me, I felt like I was not, didn't want to go the tour circuit and loved the golf professional part of it. And started off at Las Colinas as an intern in Dallas, and then ended up taking a chance and going to Pinehurst, where I was part of the Pine Needles golf schools, and I was an assistant pro there. I'm dating myself. Back in the day, we did not have a lot of women golf professionals, as well as head professionals. Went back to Houston, Texas, and I became the TPC Director of Retail, and where they had the Shell Houston Open 1,000 years ago. Now it doesn't exist. Got the job at Harbortown Golf Links, worked there for 17 years. We won multiple yearly platinum awards for our shop, and ready for a change after 17 years, and came to Reynolds, Georgia, and I love it. I love our section. I'm having a lot of fun. It's I've been in the resort world for so long, and I'm enjoying the member component.
Great. Steve?
Yeah, I've been turned professional back in 1990, right out of college. Played a little junior college up in Washington State. Got a job at a private club there as an assistant right after that. Been at private clubs, been mostly public facilities. I was in Arizona, been in South Carolina, South Georgia, even spent a year and a half taught on board cruise ships. My wife. So I've been around the country quite a bit. Been at City Club Marietta in this section, and I was down at Waycross, now Laurel Walker. It was my first stint in the section years ago. Now I've been at Summer Grove for 2.5 years now. This is pretty much I told the owner when we were interviewing, she asked what my goals were, and I said that today is my last job interview. This is what I'm looking at for my retirement. I'm going into retirement right here, kind of build something at the club here, and really enjoying it here, and just loving the enjoyment of the section. So, and once again, thank you everybody for coming out today. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. Well, that was the hardest question. Is just tell us about yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you both have, and thank you all for what you do for the section, and you're fantastic representatives of the professionals here in the section. So we'll get started with the first question. Other than that one, so obviously planning and preparedness is such a critical part of success of a retail operation, and the two of you do so well at this. And so The question is, how do you develop a buying plan each year? Or do you have any specific buying strategies when you look at the season ahead to make sure you have, adequate, not just inventory levels, but assortment for your different members and guests and players? So, Caroline, we'll start with you on that one.
I was just talking to Scott and Steve about this. Everybody, I know that everyone gets very overwhelmed when it comes to a buying plan. And it really doesn't have to be difficult. And, Scott, I can send something to everybody about a very easy way to do your buy plans. Okay. Basically, what you do is we break it. I conduct sales reports for the 2 seasons, kind of like spring, summer, which would be January 1st to June 30th, and then July 1st to 12/31. Okay. And so what I'll do is I'll print out my sales reports by category. And then what I do is, let's say I sell 100 shirts, and I will subtract 30% off it to compensate for existing inventory, maybe some weather conditions, and that's my open to buy. And then within that open to buy, what I'll do is I'll take a look at my vendors, which ones perform, which ones do not perform. And then I break those numbers out based on the performance of all my vendors. Another thing that I do is, let's be honest here, I wish we all had time to go through reports and what sizes, what colors. That's where you can really jump in a very easy way and go around your shop and go, okay, brand X did sell. Maybe it was the price point. Maybe it was the color. Maybe it was the fit. Maybe you didn't have the right sizes. Talk to your staff about that, and they can give you valuable input. As well as when you have a sale, what's left on the rack? Is it too many double extra larges? Is it a certain brand? And in all honesty, if y'all can just stick to those things, that is going to help you with your open to buy. It's very simple, and that's how I do it. Now, one component I did not mention is printing your inventory report. Okay, I'm going to come clean. I am over in layering. I just am. I had too much layering in the end of last year. I blew it out so well because I didn't buy more for spring 25 that I was out. And then I bought more and it got warm. Okay, so you're going to have those situations. But if you are over in a category, like I just said, then take a look at your next season. Go, you know what? I'm just not going to bring more merchandise in of this category. So it's not, I don't mean to downplay it, but it really isn't that hard when it comes to apparel. As long as you stay on top of it. Now, women's apparel is another story. And I could go on and on about that. But if someone wants to reach out to me on my email, or like I said, if the section wants me to put this together briefly, it's going to make half a page, and it's going to be very easy for everyone to have a plan. And one last thing, and I'm going to let Steve talk about this, but just think of it as a budget. If, for the sake of conversation, if you take home $100 a month, you can't spend $400. You have to work within a budget. And I think that's the key to it. And based on the reports, you can't really go wrong if you subtract the 30%. And guess what? If you need to buy more, you just go buy more, but at least you're not going to have over an inventory.
Yeah, I totally agree with that right there. A lot of it is anecdotal, just talking to members, talking to staff, finding out what they liked, what they didn't like, looking at the sale rack. You can learn a lot just from that. I don't break down SKUs by size, and I don't have a SKU for a red medium shirt. I don't do that. It's just there's too much to do right there. What I do is like you, I I look at the numbers, I look at the vendors, and the bottom 2 or 3 vendors that aren't producing, they get relegated. And I open that up for somebody new to come in. I'll look for a different line to come in at that point. But I try and keep it simple. Look at the numbers, divide it up. Okay, how much do I have to spend for accessories this year? How much did I sell last year? If I only sold 10,000 in accessories, I'm not going to order 20,000. So it's just knowing the numbers. I just use basic Excel spreadsheets on that to analyze different things and reorder. So for me, the numbers are the key right there.
Stevie did mention a very, very valid point when you do talk about this is SKUs. Oh my gosh, when I got here, there was a million SKUs, the same SKU over and over for every season. Everybody, you know what I do? I'll say one vendor, Peter Millar. I have one SKU for solids, one SKU for stripes, one SKU for patterns. And that's what I do. And there's times if you want to add something to it and go, okay, I want to know what season, you could just take that same SKU and go, okay, I'm going to F25, which is fall 25. Or, if you want to know what didn't sell, because it's on your ticket. And guess what? When it comes to spring 26, I edit it and I'm into spring 26. So I know what shirts are last year's. But again, everybody, we don't need to make this complicated. You can manage it just even looking at the description of your SKU and then change it every season if that's the same vendor you're going to use.
Yeah. Wow.
That's great. Yeah, it's interesting just listening to the two of you and your expertise there. It's such a mix of preparation, but then also adapting throughout the year, right? And it's really wonderful what you both said, where it's you kind of leaning on your staff, listening to what people are saying, what the team is talking about, and then what's left if you can't sell it at full price and you can't sell it at half off. That kind of tells a story, right? It gives you a little bit more insight of planning for next year, whether it's size or color, what it might be. So we'll start with Steve on this one. What has been maybe a product or a segment of something in your golf shop that you've seen a real increase in sales or a real increase of interest in, or a certain product over the last year or two that you've really noticed?
The big one for us, and sure for everybody else too, is the outerwear and hoodies. Hoodies have just exploded for us. We've seen a big increase with them. The other one is the logo hats, doing all the different logos and changing up, doing the upside down. Those are the two big ones for us that we've seen, and we've adjusted for it. I mean, this year I brought in a ton of hoodies, and probably half of them are gone already.
Wow.
So we'll take a look at it when we get a little closer to spring. And what we've also noticed is I'm extending the hoodies into the spring, going with the lightweight hoodies. I'm getting a lot more guys wearing them even when it's starting to warm up, just for sun protection, that type of thing. So the season has gone from like October 1st to end of February. Now it's like September 1st to the end of March, early April. So that's been big for us this year.
Right.
Okay, my turn. I have a couple of them. Depending on your facility and price points, the G4 headwear did extremely well. The G4 shoes did well for us. And I just think that at least some people that are conservative spenders do not have a problem of spending the extra dollars, because it's a shoe that they may wear on the golf course, but I think the majority of the time they're wearing it off the golf course, the amount of money they're paying for it. Another thing that we did extremely well with is the Sunday bag, and it holds 7 golf clubs. And for those walkers, That's great to do if you want to go out to the driving range and you don't want to bring your whole bag. And the super fun colors, we've gone through so many. The last thing, which I'm kidding around, everyone's favorite category, women's apparel. We have sold so much in sun protection. And actually, I got to complain. I get sick of wearing golf shirts. I do. I've worn golf shirts since I was 13 years old. And the sun protection shirts are so lightweight and they have the netting underneath that I've worn that out in the golf course. And honestly, I don't feel like if it's 100 degrees, it's 100 degrees. You can wear short sleeve, sleeveless, sun protection. You're still going to be hot. So in the summertime, I would really suggest to take a look at those options because a lot of ladies wear them to work out or walk the dog, or it's just something different.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Definitely. So what have you seen, what I've noticed, and tell me if the two of you all have, but over the last several years, a lot of our golf vendors have expanded into a lot more lifestyle, a lot more athletic leisure wear. And so Caroline, we'll start with you on this one. What have you seen in that market where a lot more, maybe, have you seen more of your members come to the golf shop and kind of rely on the golf shop to maybe get some of that lifestyle wear, such as button downs or denim jeans or, the workout leisure apparel? What have you seen, and not just the offerings from the vendors, but also in the interest from your members and going to you for that type of wear?
Well, let's start with the vendors. The vendors are just like us. They're looking for another piece of the pie to sell more to us. So, you've got the hoodies like Steve mentioned, you've got the t-shirts, but I know they're going to a higher quality. So again, they could go work out in it. They can go play golf in the hoodies. They can do different things, along with women's wear. I think again, when you have lifestyle, again, for women want multiple purposes. So, if I get a full zip hoodie for the sake of conversation, they can wear it on the golf course, they can go to the grocery store, they can go work out. So I feel like with women, how many, again, women, if I have to go, I have so many golf shirts that when I want to get something, I'd rather get a layering piece. Women are always cold. They always like something different to wear that appeals to the non-golfer and golfer. So the last key component of all this is, how do you educate your member or guest that you're carrying lifestyle? That's where I'm not savvy in social media. I got to complain. That is my weakest link. But just showcasing that, hey, I've got this level wear ladies hoodie, and I've got some other, women's t-shirts. Maybe you don't wear them on the golf course, but you could specify that, hey, this is something fun to wear off the golf course. And I think also setting up a section, if you're really committed, just say you're going to carry 3 items. Okay, what I just mentioned, t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, maybe crew necks. Commit to a cubby and really make that presentation versus it all around in the shop. And just educate, like even if it's a 8.5 by 11 and you can just write, have it typed up and say, hey, great items to wear off the golf course. And at least it lets them know, that it's not something at time, like you can't wear a t-shirt on the golf course. So I think the hardest is women's, and to explain that to them, you can put a sign up and they're not going to read it. I'm sorry. I'm one of them. But again, having something to explain to them, I know this is probably something no one wants to hear in my vendors, but carrying leggings, you're just opening a can of worms. having to talk to them about not wearing them. I just don't carry them. I can't, because I don't want to tell them that that's not appropriate in the golf course. If you feel like it's something that's not appropriate, don't carry it. That's my recommendation.
That's great, Caroline. Steve, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we've just started to expand to lifestyle. We've got a local person here that does screen printing, so she's done just limited runs of T-shirts. We did one with the license plate on the back with the Grove on it. Just some very small runs, and that first one we brought in on a Saturday, and half of them came straight out of the box right into the hands of a customer, because we kind of put it out there. These were going to be here, and we sold half of them straight out of the box. So that's been a big one for us as the T-shirts. We've done a course map on one, just playing around with some different ideas. The other one is off-course footwear. We did fairly well with Travis Matthew and Adidas this year, bringing some in that weren't necessarily golf shoes. They're more lifestyle shoes, and they went pretty well. And once they got the idea, you got to kind of educate. You got to sit there with a member and explain to them, yeah, this is a great shoe for when you're going out to work out, something like that. So it's about getting out there and talking to people and educating them a lot. As far as the ladies wear this year, for the fall, and we talked at the seminar at the merchandise show about kind of cutting out, not doing so much polos for ladies, because they have a lot. They're good there. So we went with level wear and did all outerwear for this fall. And I actually expanded the ladies section just to bring this in, kind of give them something extra for the holidays. And it's been well received. So we already sold several pieces out of it. We've only had it for maybe 2 weeks. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. But yeah, definitely trying to get more to the off-course leisure wear.
Hey, Steve, I have a question, because you were talking about T-shirts. What designs were the most popular for you? Because I'm trying to get some ideas.
We did the best one for us. We just did our logo. We actually did a pocket T-shirt, and on the pocket had our Summer Grove leaf on there, and the Summer Grove logo there. Then on the back, we did the license plate. Had the Grove, established 1999, Georgia, had the peach in the background. So that was probably our biggest one right there. The course map went pretty good, but it wasn't real crisp on the image. It didn't quite come out like we wanted to. So that one kind of made its way to the sale rack. But once it hit there, it was gone.
I came up when I was at Harbor Town, a really cool design. I think it's more better on a towel, but I think everyone could do this. And again, just reach out to me and I can send a picture to y'all. But it's on a towel, and then it's a traditional shield, like the ones back in the day with polo, and it has cross clubs behind it, and then right in the middle is your logo, which is the duck. And I did it in like red, green, blue, navy, the basic colors. And I've actually had golf professionals that came to our property that asked, like, hey, where did you get that towel? Or where did you buy it actually? So that's a really good idea. I'm actually going to try it on a T-shirt this year and see what happens. But if you want to write that down, I know that was a really good seller, at least for a towel for sure.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
So a couple of awesome notes I wrote down from that is, number one, what you both mentioned about the ladies apparel and kind of getting multi-use out of something instead of just a polo shirt for golf only. Yeah. I think that's some fantastic insight and some advice. And then also too, you're thinking about a golf shop, and you think about guests that might come in and play and want a gift from playing at your club or members playing. It doesn't always have to be a golf shirt, right? So looking at things like maybe different varied price points, like a T-shirt, a really cool hat design, like you talked about, Steve, a towel, something custom made that you really just can't get anywhere else. With the
accessories are big too. So,
absolutely, yeah. So. That's fantastic. So that kind of leads me into another question is, looking ahead, what new merchandising ideas or trends, or maybe something that you specifically have coming into your shop, in 26 are you and beyond, are you most excited about? What are you looking forward to in the coming years? Caroline, we'll start with you on this one.
This is a tough one for me. I don't know if anyone has a very super conservative market. I did a seminar for the Merchandise of the Year conference, and they mentioned about trends, and they were talking about like how it's a bell curve. And so you can start where the initial part of the bell curve is people are jumping on it. They need to be in all the fashion, what's the latest thing out. And then you go to the top where it's more received, and then it's saturated on the down curve. Well, I'm over here. Like all the big prints that everyone was doing well with men's golf shirts and ladies did not resonate here. So trends are a little bit slower for us. So we really take advantage of our vendor partners to kind of dictate a little bit of that. Smaller prints on golf shirts that are like mini prints have done well. We talked about lifestyle for the sake of conversation. I think people are looking for more different accessory pieces. Believe it or not, yellow's a new color this year. I was doing some things with the PGA during major tournaments, and for some reason, yellow's back in. So I like yellow, but I think a good point, what Steve mentioned is, I think people just want some different headwear than your logo. Yeah. And so that creates that multiple sale. Like you said, the upside down, the big letters, the rope hats. I mean, I can't keep those in. So maybe I'm not the best on that answer, but that's what we're doing here at Reynolds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing here. We're a little more progressive as far as a little quicker to jump on things. I've got kind of a good younger membership, and a good segment of younger members and public that plays here. So the big prints and all that went great here. They loved it. So that's something we're looking at. For us, gift items, the little accessories. We brought in some coasters last year. It went great. We used them for a tea gift. We had some left over. They sold great. So we're looking to do more of those little accessory pieces this year. Probably expand on that a little bit. And like I say, obviously the headwear, I've got an assistant that's really good with designing stuff like that. So he's working with some of our vendors, looking at some new vendors like Branded Bills. I know it's a partner, section partner. So we're going to try them this year. Looking forward to see what they can do. So just always looking for something new, something to get people excited.
Steve, you mentioned a really good point about staff members and how you can get them involved. We have started doing some gift giving over here. I've never done this, but like mud pie, which is like giftware in the respect of serving ware, and like martini glasses that have olives in it and all these. Okay, I got to come clean. I don't know anything about that stuff. I have a young, hip assistant that does not play golf, that knows all those brands, and that's like, here's your open to buy, and you buy it because I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So there's something to be said about if you do have a strong staff member that is good at women's apparel or good at men's or headwear or accessories, take advantage of that. I got to come clean. I don't do clubs. I just don't. I'm not good at it. But I have great assistants that love doing that stuff. So talk to your staff. Give them an open to buy number and say, okay, you can only buy 72 units of this and see what happens. Their creativity can be additional sales for your shop.
Yeah, I don't buy ladies wear without having one of my ladies present.
Oh yeah.
I just don't do it. I learned that a long time ago.
Smart man, Steve.
Uh,
So, so we'll transition just a little bit. It's been fantastic so far. Thank you both for your insight. And so we talked about this kind of for a moment before the webinar started this morning. And so a lot of us just finished up our big tournament season, right? All of our big events, and looking back at the year, and then of course looking into 26, we have to start again with tournament gifting and selecting our tournament gifts for members, member guests, and so on. What have been some successful recent selections for tournament gifting, and kind of what's your strategy with that? And because it's hard, right? It's hard to keep it exciting, to keep it interesting. You may have some of the same players each year in your member guest, and maybe the same guests each year. And we'll start with Steve on this. How do you keep tournament gifting exciting, relevant? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we're always trying to think of things that are useful. Like we've done belts. We just try and think, if you give them a towel, they've got a ton of towels. So that's boring. They're not going to do it. It was interesting. My first year here for the member guest, we used the Titleist and FootJoy web store. They set up the microsite for us. It was good, but the member said, well, yeah, really all I got was golf balls. So we said, okay, let's switch it up. So the next year we changed the name of the tournament to the Tradition, trying to build something on that. And we did a backpack, a water bottle. We do a custom coin every year for it. So we did that. And they came back and they said, where was the web store? Okay, well, you guys said you wanted something different. So by talking to them, we found out they wanted the web store. They just wanted more selection. So I went to Brittany and my FootJoy rep, Fulton, and just said, hey, we want to bring it back, but we got to expand it a little bit. Have some more ladies wear on there. They want to order some outerwear, things like that. So they expanded it, and the members loved it this year. They thought it was great. They loved there was other things that you could get on there, more club selections. So they had something to buy rather than, well, I'll just get some golf balls. And even if they want golf balls this year, they could do custom numbers on it. So I had a lot of them do custom numbers that they wanted. So we're going to continue that. We'll do the web store, and we do, like I say, we do a custom coin every year. So I'm looking for, if anybody has any information, one of my guys brought back from Bandon Dunes, it was like a gold, like a stamped gold or a bronze coin, and then it had the logo on one side. On the other, they could imprint like 3 letters or a couple different things on there. So if anybody has information on that, how to get a hold of something like that, love to do that for ours, to where they come up on that Friday and check in, and we say, okay, you've already done all your web store stuff. Here's your ball marker. How do you want it customized? Do you want your initials on there? Do you want some kind of saying, that type of thing? So that's what we're looking at for this year.
Well, Nathan DeVictor, with a head, they do all that custom stuff. Is Nathan on here still?
Yeah, if Nathan's on here, if you have something where we can customize it on the spot for him, that'd be awesome.
I don't know.
Well, he was here earlier. I'll give him a call. But
okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
What we're looking at.
That's great. Caroline, what have you seen, or what's your strategy for tournament gifting or any recent successes?
So we just hired a tournament director last year, and he's been kind of handling it, but I help give him input. I don't know if many of y'all have a tournament committee. I would suggest strongly to bounce ideas off them, because that kind of takes all the pressure off you if they don't like it. So, because they now are taking ownership. It's always our fault, where now you have this committee and you give them the options. And so now if someone doesn't like it, well, you got to talk to the tournament committee. So that being said, I got to complain. We kind of really go with the brands that that they like, and honestly, we just rotate it. I know it sounds like it's boring, but like one year we'll do the Peter Millar microsite. The next one we'll do Johnny O. We wanted to do Straight Down next year, but their truck is already at another event where they can pick the goods the products they want, and they can customize the logo, obviously not their club logo, but our logo, or maybe their initials on that product. So microsites have been our saving grace. And again, we keep it simple because that's what they want. I mean, just say for the sake of conversation, if you did Peter Millar every single year, guys are going to love another Peter Millar shirt for free. I mean, I got to come clean. So another thing that we have a couples member guest. It's our biggest event of the year. And we give $200 per couple. Again, we've tried everything. The husband needs a pair of shoes, or you give them a layering piece and they don't need it. I mean, not only do they get what they want, our golf shop sales hit the roof because the fact that, because they're spending more than the $200. So again, the only challenge I would say with that is make sure your shop's stocked and let them get whatever they want. I mean, again, we've done this for 3 years and they buy it every time. I mean, that's what they want.
Yeah, see, that's another part of the web store, the microsite, is that one event we picked up another $5,000-$6,000 just in overage. We gave them a budget and then they spent over it, so that gets charged to their account. And it was extra sales right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why y'all are the best, right there. I love it. That's great. What I've found and the team have found is, and again, working with some committee and for member guests is to create, when it comes to tournament gifting, specifically for member guests, is to create a whole unique experience, right? And so make the welcome different and make it feel like completely different than just a normal day of golf, right? One little tip we found successful, we did for our member in trying to create a different, unique gifting experience, is we went with the little campfire solo stoves. And so when we gifted them, we had a couple of tables and we had firewood out there and we had marshmallows, and we had one burning, and so you could roast. You're handing the member s'more, roasted marshmallow when you're giving them the actual solo stove, and that seemed to go over incredibly well. Just in creating a unique experience of gifting beyond just the gift itself. So we've got time for a couple more questions before we get into questions from the crowd here. This one's one of my favorite questions because, no matter how prepared we are, and we think, boy, we select the best items for our members and our guests, and we feel like we hit home runs, and every now and then we open up that box of a line or a collection that we purchased 6 months ago. We open that box and we say, did I really choose that? I don't know how I feel about it now. Or we think it's going to be a home run, and it's out there on that sales floor for 2 months and not one moved, right? It happens to all of us. But what lessons have you learned, right? Assuming each of you ever had this happen to you,
no.
What lesson have you learned from a merchandising failure where something just flopped, or you thought it was going to be a home run and it didn't move? Do you have any experience with that, Steve? We'll start with you.
How much time we got left?
Yeah.
Because this could be like a 3-hour seminar. Yeah, it happens. It happens. Like I said before, I've opened up boxes and thought, was I drinking that day? And I don't drink, so it happens. My biggest thing is don't be afraid to admit a mistake and move on. There's been things where I've opened the box and went, okay, we're gonna run a buy one get half off on the other one sale on this one, and put it out for a while. If it's not moving, move it to the sale rack. I've got a 50. I do my sale rack at 50% off. If I bring in 4 shirts, I paid $50 for each of them, and I sold 3. I spent $200. I made $300. If I make an extra $50 on the other one just at cost, great, get it out of here. But mostly I want to free up dollars to bring in something that is going to sell. So yeah, it happens. Learn, go, okay, I'm not going to bring that in again, and move on. But don't sit there for 4 months with it on the rack going, someone's going to come in and like that. No, they're not. Just get it out of there, free up your dollars, and move on.
Yeah.
Well, I took the chance of bringing that Boulder Prince like we talked about, thinking, okay, maybe I'm just too conservative. And so I did this one brand, and apparently it's a good thing I forgot it. And I brought in 48 pieces. I only sold 2. And then I've never had any women members tell me that is ugly. I was like mortified, which I didn't like it either, but I was trying something different. So of course I get that off the floor, and put it at 50 off. It's pretty bad when you can't sell it at 50 off. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, it's bad. And so I will tell everybody, I think the worst thing you do, you were talking about freeing up dollars, Steve. If you have a lot of excess inventory that you can't sell, take the hit and just write it off. Because all it's going to do is, it's like eggs. After a while, they're going to get rotten. They're not going to smell any better. So, if you could talk to a liquidator, I have one in Arizona because we have to do ours out of state. There's another one in Florida, I know. And just get it out. And it's part of that's part of the cost of doing business. I mean, if you look at your cost of sales, and let's just say that you do $500,000 in business, and you have to write off $5,000 and you get $1,000 for it. Well, you're only hitting $4,000 on your cost of sales. So when you think about a year of doing it, is that really a lot of money? So it's a matter of just talking to your, your comptroller or your accounting president, and just letting them know this is part of business.
Yeah.
I mean, so as long as you learn, like we talked about, learn from your mistakes. But I think, again, if anyone wants to reach out to me and needs a good liquidator, I'd be happy to share 2 names.
Well, that's great. There's something to be said about turnover and just get what you need for it, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. So we've got, I think, time for 2 more questions. The first one is, and we'll start with on this one. How do you stay inspired? How do you stay inspired? How do you gather new and fresh ideas, not just for your selection and what you bring into your shop, but merchandising it and displaying it?
I actually have someone I hired, and they just go take pictures of Caroline's shop.
Love it.
Okay, I'll write the check in the mail.
Yeah, there we go.
Venmo.
It's just being connected with the game, still playing a lot, getting out with members, talking with them, finding out what they like. Social media, going on, looking at different things on, get your algorithm up to where it's showing you golf and tour stuff, see what's coming out with the tours, see what the merchandise with the different vendors, what they're coming up with, talking with reps. That's a big one. So yeah, it's just kind of staying connected, and it's not always the easiest thing to do. Go home at night and flip through Instagram to get ideas. You want to get away from the shop, but you spend a little bit of time there, and you can get some pretty cool ideas of what's going on in different shops in different areas of the country. So that's a lot of it.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Exactly what Steve said to the T. The only thing I would add is I'm pretty bad about social media. That's when I really rely on my staff. I have a younger staff that I can get their ideas from. And also just networking, talking to other buyers, or in this part of the world in Georgia or outside here. But I think the big thing is, with our Georgia PGA, is take advantage of, talking to your peers about what's working. I just started this new, I guess, I don't know what you call a thing with my friends and my friends in the business. And we're all so busy. And so I said, okay, here's the rules. Steve, you'll be my new victim tomorrow. Is I got 5 minutes to talk.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know we're all busy. You can cut me off in that 5 minutes. I can cut you off because I've got something going on. And if we could talk longer, we talk longer. And at least you get that phone conversation with people that you would not talk to because you don't want to be rude on the phone. It's so well received. People are like now calling me going, hey, I got 5 minutes. Let's talk, and it's like, it's fun. Then not talk to anybody for a year because you don't want to be rude.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. I don't like to impose on somebody, but I'm all for stealing ideas. I love hearing new things and talking to people, seeing new logos, new ideas on that. So that's great. Yeah.
So, Steve, I'm like you. I think probably half of the folks I follow on Instagram are retail merchandisers around the country, looking at their display ideas. And one piece of advice that I'd give is, whenever I'm playing other golf clubs, sure, I hop in the shop, say hi, look at what they're doing, but also to just standard, other retail stores. Certainly go in those high-end stores that I have no business in being in. Can't afford anything in there, but I like to look and see how they display items. Or even just, we were in, Yeti has done really well for us in the shop. And we were recently in an outdoors, like hunting, outdoor living store, and just to see how they display things, utilizing things like Yeti coolers and just get different ideas from just as you're shopping in any environment, I think can be quite helpful for you. One more question, and that is, and we'll start with Caroline on this one, is what advice would you give to an associate or someone that's just entered the business and maybe has aspirations of one day being a retail manager or run a manager retail operation? What advice would you give to that person?
I think the first thing I would do, and that's what I did do as assistant pro, is share my thoughts with my director of golf or my head golf professional that I would like to learn more about retail and possibly the steps that I could achieve that. I have to admit, PGA Magazine does a great job on providing the best practices, and they have the M+ where if you don't know about it, it's all about what's out there, what are the best practices, how to do a lot of the displays. And so if you really want to do that, I would be that sponge that would try to learn as much as I could. Maybe it is reaching out to maybe reach out to one of the pros like Steve that has won Merchandise of the Year in our section and look up this. There are programs out there. I think the hardest thing is don't be afraid to reach out. If you really want to do something, this is embarrassing, but when I was, we didn't have internet. Making phone calls back in the day when I was in Pinehurst, not in 91. You had to literally put face-to-face conversation with the director of retail, which was Roger Morgan at that time, and ask questions. And I think a lot of them are willing to take the time to teach you. So I don't know if that helped, but obviously social media and all that stuff. But I would say, take advantage of the publications and networking and just getting out there.
Yeah. Best thing you can do is show that you want to be involved. And if they're not going to let you be involved, well, maybe you're not in the right spot. So maybe you need to take a look at a different course or a different club or something. But the best thing that ever happened to me was I had a head golf professional in Washington State, Greg Moore, Meadow Springs Country Club. He got to the point where he said, okay, I'm going to order it. And then once it comes through the door, it's yours. Mm-hmm. You check it in, you price it, you display it, you decide when it goes on sale. And he really gave me the ownership of that. Mm-hmm. And in turn, that's what I do with my assistants here is I have them designing things. I have them sitting in on sales meetings. You know, they do the displays. I'll help them with them, but I let them have that ownership of it. So yeah, best thing you can do is speak up, because if I get an assistant that comes in and says, "Hey, I want to be involved in this," boom, you're doing it. We're getting you going on it. If I've got someone that we start to do a display and all of a sudden they just disappear on me, yeah, I'm probably not gonna involve them as much in the future. You got to show that you're interested and let it be known. That's the biggest thing. And like I say, don't be afraid to reach out. Anybody wants to reach out to me, love to sit down and talk with them. Reach out to Caroline. I mean, that's a great resource we've got in the section right here. Not too many sections have, have someone that has won the national award twice. So yeah, don't be afraid. Just reach out and talk to people. Go to the seminars, go to the merchandise show. Yeah, just get out there.
That's fantastic advice. I would agree with that 1,000%. Caroline, Steve, thank you both so much. And we've got a couple minutes left. So does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask Caroline or Steve? Nothing? I've asked a lot of questions already. You're tired of hearing my voice. Anybody else? If not, we'll
Hey Glenn,
Yes,
this
sir.
is Mike Miller from Big Canoe.
Hey. Go on.
I did have a question. It's for Stephen or Caroline or anybody on the call. As the attire in golf has changed and you've added in hoodies and the joggers and those things, we are up here in the mountains a wiser, more experienced, I don't want to say older, clientele, and some are anti those progressive things. Has anybody updated their dress codes to address those things? Because we are actually having that discussion with my Golf and Greens committee at this point of what the attire is changing, apparel is changing in the world. We see it on TV, but I've got people that are stuck in 1980 and think that everybody should dress like they did in 1980. So anybody out there, just throwing it out, have a dress code. And if you do, email it to me. I would love to see it. Miller@pga.com. Thanks.
Mike, I can kind of help you on that. And I don't know, Steve, if you were at that Merchandise of the Year conference, but basically the Merchandise of the Year conference is by PGA Magazine, and it deals with, like, they invite all the national, like, winners and buyers to this event, and they're all over the country. And this is a very, very common problem. I should say problem, but it is. You have that membership that's getting older that want to dress very conservative, and you got the new membership coming in because you do need to bring in obviously new members. For example, we went from average age 64 to 46. So that being said, a lot of the pros have been having these committee meetings and trying to find some common ground between being conservative and also being, I don't know, you want to say progressive, and come up with a plan. I mean, let's just say the joggers. Well, I wouldn't want joggers maybe that looks like sweatpants. I mean, there's joggers that the pros are wearing out there that are a great material that just happens to be, how can I say it, the elastic at the bottom. So that would be my only thing, is see if they can just meet halfway on some stuff, and have to educate them. This is part of the trends now. I mean, you see the pros, and that's another thing. Look at the pros, what they're wearing. They're not wearing the same stuff that they wore in 1980, Santa belt pants and stuff like that. So my pockets are big. No one wants to wear that traditional golf slack anymore. So just being prepared, and that, I don't know if that helps, Mike, but that's what I had heard. Certain things, I will tell you real quick, I know we got to get going, but leggings are out. No. You do need, okay, I know that women's skirts are getting shorter. I wouldn't go any higher than a 15-inch. I know ladies look that amazing. I'm jealous. But, I think some parameters like that is you're not going to do the 17-inch skirt, but 15 is very respectful. Again, if you need some help, just reach out to me, but just they got to meet halfway.
And I think you have to kind of look at where your clientele is and where you want your clientele to be.
Right.
If you're at a private club and your members are getting older and they're kind of aging out, you need to replace them with younger members. So maybe you need to look at revising that. Years ago, I was at a public course in South Carolina, and the members came to us. We had public and members, and they said, we'd like to wear jeans in the winter. So we said, okay, let's take a look at the issue. And basically we looked at it and we said, okay, where are we going to lose more people? The guy looking across the fairway, seeing a pair of jeans and saying, I'm never coming back to this place? Or the guy that walks in a pair of jeans and you tell him, no, you can't play in those? Where are you going to do more damage to yourself? Well, it's the guy that walks through the door of the jeans. As long as they're not ripped, torn, they're decent looking. We decided, okay, we're going to allow that in the wintertime. So you kind of got to look at like you said, meeting halfway on that, and kind of decide, okay, what kind of clientele do we want to have? Do we want to get the younger people in? Because if we want to do that, then the ban on hoodies is probably not going to go over real well. So yeah, there's a lot of different factors, and it's different for every club.
Mike, that's a really good question that you mentioned. And I think that's something that, definitely needs to be addressed in future conversations, because it is becoming an ongoing, upcoming challenge.
Well, that's some great insight. And thank you, Mike, for the question. But we are at 11 o'clock, so we were out of time. It would be great to talk with Caroline and Steve all day long, but they're too busy. They're too busy for that. But Caroline, Steve, thank you so much for your time and your insight. You're true both leaders in the section, and we're grateful, very grateful for you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Hopefully we kept it interesting for everybody and no one fell asleep.